they're going to come in low, and they're going to come in with restrictive terms because that they don't know any better. And that's the way they've been taught, is most likely it minimizes the risk for them. So first of all, they're going to move on the terms. And they're more likely to move the more collaborative they think you are. And the more deferential you are, the less you openly oppose what they say. It takes the wind out of their sails. You can turn a win-lose negotiation, a combative negotiation, into a collaborative negotiation if you simply refuse to participate in the combat, which is what the design of a deferentially phrased what and how questions are. And what and how questions are, look, how does that meet our mutual goals? The most famous how question of all is to test the other side, is to say, how am I supposed to do that? Like, it's the first phrase in the first story, Never Split the Difference, is the application of how am I supposed to do that? Now, here's what's going to happen when you ask, how am I supposed to do that? It's going to get them to stop and think. That every time. The answer is not as important as the thought process you just put them in. You put them into deep thinking. It's exhausting. The secret to gaining the upper hand in a negotiation is giving the other side the illusion of control. So you're asking a how question, first of all, for its mental impact. Now, secondarily, 9 times out of 10, they're going to adjust the terms on the spot, or they're going to start a collaborative process to adjust the terms or the price on the spot. Now, as I said, this was a test. Now, 1 time in 10, they're going to fire back at you because if you want the deal, you'll do it. All right, you just got some great data back. What you wanted to find out in the first place is, are they positioning or do they mean it? Without asking that question, but you're getting that answer based on their response. So the what and how questions are designed primarily for implementation. And the what question is designed primarily, not exclusively, but primarily to uncover problems. What stands in the way? What's stopping you from making this decision? What's the best way to attack the obstacles that we have to overcome? Principally, but not exclusively, designed to uncover problems, how questions, principally to create collaboration for implementation. And these questions are also exhausting for the other side to hear. And they don't know that you're exhausting them. They feel deferential. There's great power in deference. So in these types of negotiations, sort of your first way to get space between yes and no is to start with how and what questions.
Interesting. And occasionally, I guess, they'll throw it back to you, and maybe it's some, like an overly arrogant private equity group partner who's having a bad day, and he or she kind of retorts and says, well, that's your problem. You got to figure out how to, I'm sure it's rare, but occasionally it must happen.
It does happen. I would say about 10% of the time. How do you prep for that 10% of the time?
Yeah.
First of all, you got to get yourself in that position to begin with. And then there's some mental rehearsal involved. Like if somebody slams it back in my face, and they have, I find a way to ask the same question with a different tone of voice. And you can practice this. Practice emphasizing each way to deliver it. Like, how am I supposed to do that? And you can say it again, how am I supposed to do that? I mean, you can change the meaning and make it land differently every time. And every time you throw it at them, it feels deferential, but you're actually engaging in the long game where you're wearing them down. And they don't know that you're wearing them down. You want, in the M&A guy space and the buyout space, private equity space, let them make their bonus on somebody else. You want to be highly collaborative and highly deferential, and you want to make a great deal where both sides prosper. And by and large, they're going to be looking more at short-term gains where you're offering a better deal that they haven't discovered. And they're poker players, and you're a superior player by being collaborative no matter what they do, and deferential.